Okay, let's face it, we're broke and we are in trouble. Ask President Obama's co-chair of the Bipartisan Debt Commission. Both will tell you that we're broke. One of them pointed out that the United States is messed up, so messed up that by treaty we've agreed to protect Taiwan from invasion by the Chinese, but we have to borrow the money from the Chinese to be able to protect Taiwan. Go figure, right? Well, we run out of money March 18th, so what can we do? Congressman Paul Ryan joins us. Good evening, sir.
Hey, good to be with you.
Nice to have you on the set. All right, the Republicans want to cut the budget for this year by $61 billion. That's a lot of money.
Out of a $1.6 trillion deficit, a $3.8 trillion annual budget?
Well, I was going to say that. Well, that was my next question. It's only, I mean, I thought that was a lot until I said it's only 1.6%. Right. So that's not really cutting it much.
No, but what we're trying to do is prevent these huge spending gains that were gotten over the last 2 years from going forward. The president increased government agency budgets by 24%, domestic agencies, over the last 2 years. Then with the stimulus, he increased them by 84%. What he's trying to do is lock in all these spending increases going forward, and we don't want to do that. That's why we're trying to cut spending now to get them back to pre-binge, pre-stimulus 2008 levels.
Can't you just go back to that? I mean, with the
that's what we're trying to do.
Is that what the $61 billion brings us back? What, to 2008? But what is 1.6%? I still don't get what it's going to do for us. I mean,
so, going through this rest of this fiscal year, we want a down payment on some spending cuts. So we go forward, starting in October, with more spending reforms and more spending cuts. We don't want to accept, in what we call the baseline, this massive spending increase. We want to get a down payment on cutting spending, because if the president succeeds in freezing spending at these high levels, that's another $1 trillion over the course of the budget of more money to government agencies, to these discretionary domestic government agencies. Double-digit, triple-digit increases these agencies have gotten. The EPA got a 124% increase in its budget over the past 2 years. He's trying to lock those spending gains in and go forward. We want to deny that and bring spending back down to normal levels. All
right, March 18th is the end of the next continuing resolution deadline. Do you think that we'll have another continuing resolution? Because I tell you,
probably.
Well, I'll tell you what Senator Reid was quoted in the headline of the Las Vegas Sun is, "I'm opposed to more short-term budget proposals." That's what he said a few hours ago.
The president himself suggested doing another one. So
what does
the president suggested
what Senator Reid says?
4 weeks and $8 billion in savings and cuts. We got $4 billion in 2 weeks. The president suggested going another 2. So Senator Reid and the president don't seem to be on the same page.
That's not good.
Our cuts are prorated for our savings. So we might go another 2 weeks and $4 billion. I'm not sure where this is going to go. That's where the president has agreed to go. So he'll have to talk to Senator Reid about that.
All right. You have a PowerPoint display that you show. One of them it has your guiding principles. Right. If I may jump ahead and use yours. The guiding principles that you have for reform are no changes to those in or near retirement, fulfill the mission of health and retirement security, lift the crushing burden of debt, spur economic growth, and path to prosperity. I don't see in there get rid of fraud and waste. And in going through the numbers, I learned that the estimate is 9% of Medicare is fraud or waste. 9% every year.
So those are the details we will get into when we do our actual budget, which is in April. But we have guiding principles in our budget, which is when we're reforming entitlement programs, which are the drivers of our debt crisis, we've got to make sure that people in and near retirement are protected. We can do that if we reform these programs soon. If we keep kicking the can down the road, as the president has proposed in his budget, adding $13 trillion to the debt, $1.6 trillion in new tax increases, if we keep postponing these reforms, then everybody's going to get cut. Everybody's going to get hurt. So we're saying, no. Let's fulfill the mission of health and retirement security for all generations, protect people in and near retirement, but let's get a plan to pay off this debt so we can start growing our economy now as well.
Right. You have other charts. I mean,
look, I know I've got a lot of charts.
I know, but what's that
This
chart?
is what the Congressional Budget Office tells us our debt is going to. We've had debt in the past, like in World War II. We went up to, our debt was as large as the entire economy. Right now, our debt is going to catastrophic levels. We will have a tidal wave of debt. If you want to learn more about this, what you can do, you can go to my website, prosperityproject.org. You can go to the Budget Committee website. This debt is getting out of control. By the time my 3 kids, who are 6, 7, and 9 years old, are my age, the debt will crash the economy. They'll have twice as much debt as all Americans have in income. We can't have a future like that. So we know if we stay on the path we are on, the path the president's proposing in his budget.
Is that his proposal? I mean, that is actually the path?
This is what CBO says we're going to have under the path that he has laid in front of us. Now, granted, the president inherited a tough fiscal situation. No two ways about it. The problem is he hasn't done anything to fix it. And we're not going to stop that leadership. We're not going to drop our responsibilities. We're going to propose a budget that actually fixes this budget, that actually gets this debt under control, that gets this deficit under control. And we're going to put a budget out there that makes sure that these programs can be counted on and we can get this economy growing. Look, one of the other problems, you talked about China.
You know what? I'm going to have to cut you off there, but you know, I'd love to have you. We'll talk about it later in the week. All right, Congressman, nice to see you.
Thank you.